Hello everyone and welcome to Menopause Science, a scientific community powered by Tara Cares and its champions. Tara Cares is a health tech startup founded by Jyoti Sharma to deliver menopause care that is individualised, evidence-based, accessible and affordable. On the Menopause Science channel, we cover foundational evidence-based knowledge on aspects of menopause awareness, diagnosis and management to empower your healthcare decisions. Tara Cares works with a carefully selected set of experienced scientists, technologists, engineers, researchers, nutritionists and entrepreneurs who value science and robust research to inform women's health. My name is Sally Duffin. I'm a registered nutritionist, health writer and author of Natural Nutrition for Perimenopause, What to Eat to Feel Good and Stay Sane. My company is Nutrition in York and we believe in the Tara Cares mission of a safe and inclusive menopause experience, and I've teamed up with Jyoti to deliver today's session. The topic for today is menopause and gut health. We're going to be covering why how we eat is as important as what we eat, hormones and the gut microbiome, gut health issues and menopause, and finally how to nourish your gut microbiome. So the first question to ask ourselves is, are you eating in a hurry? Because how you eat and when you eat is just as important as what you are eating. The digestive process begins when we see food, when we smell food, even when we hear food being prepared. All those, the smells, the sights, the sounds, they engage the senses, and it's our senses that send messages down the vagus nerve through to the stomach, throughout the entire digestive tract. It lets the stomach know that food is coming, and it really begins that digestive process. We start to salivate even. So even before we've tasted any food, our digestive process has begun. It's important to engage those senses and to also chew our food thoroughly. So chewing till it's a really soft mush in the mouth. And then when it gets down to the stomach acid can get to work, and then it passes into the small intestine where we've got some more digestive enzymes. And this ensures that we can really maximize the nutritional value of our food because we're able to absorb it properly. If we're eating in a hurry, possibly dashing around, not sitting down, not chewing properly, then we've got partially digested food arriving in the stomach. The stomach thinks, wow, where's this come from? You know, it didn't have those early warning signals. The senses weren't engaged, and we're more likely to get things like bloating, indigestion, and problems further down in the digestive tract as well. So it can even contribute to things like irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, and diarrhea. Eating mindfully is a set of principles that means we have to sit down to eat, take a few slow, deep breaths before we eat, and really engage those senses, chew food thoroughly, and then allow ourselves a few minutes before moving on with the day. If we can eat mindfully, then we're really going to optimize the nutritional value of our food. Eating regularly is also important, particularly during perimenopause and menopause. If we're skipping meals, if we're going for really long gaps between meals, then this puts additional strain on the body, and it has to produce more stress hormones in order to help rebalance our blood sugars from our sugar stores in our muscles and our liver. So eating regularly is important too, on average about every 4 hours. As there's lots of connections between our hormones, particularly estrogen and progesterone, and the gut microbiome. So the gut microbiome is the collection of billions and billions of different bacteria and yeasts and microbes that live throughout the digestive tract. They're largely concentrated in the colon, also known as the large intestine, but you do find different species throughout the whole digestive tract, from the mouth all the way through. There's estrogen and progesterone receptors throughout the gut, and we know that hormonal fluctuations can affect gut motility, so the rate at which our gut squeezes foods and waste matter through, and also the levels of beneficial microbes in the gut. There's a set of microbes that have a particular role in estrogen metabolism, and they're called the estrobolome. And we know that imbalances in the gut microbiome are known as dysbiosis. And if we get dysbiosis that affects these estrogen metabolizing microbes, the estrobolome, then it can really contribute to imbalances in estrogen throughout the body. And postmenopausally, we know that dysbiosis in the estrobolome contributes to an increased risk of obesity, cardiovascular disease, and osteoporosis. So it's really important that we look after our gut microbiome. So what can harm our gut microbiome? We know that stress is a massive problem for the gut as a whole, as well as the gut microbiome. Stress affects the whole digestive process. So it reduces our levels of stomach acid, it reduces our production of digestive enzymes, it affects gut motility, and it affects the environment in which our beneficial microbes are trying to live. And once those beneficial species can't thrive as well, then we get the more pathogenic, the less friendly species starting to thrive and give us lots of different health issues. Alcohol has a really detrimental effect on our beneficial bugs in the gut, as does sugar, artificial sweeteners, and ultra-processed foods. So lots of sugar feeds the unfriendly, the more pathogenic species. And you might think that switching to artificial sweeteners is a really good alternative, but in fact, the research shows that artificial sweeteners can disrupt the balance of beneficial microbes in the gut and still contribute to many problems. Ultra-processed foods lower the diversity of microbes within the gut. So not only do we want to have lots of good bugs, but we want to have really diverse range of species as well. And that gives us a really sort of strong environment in the gut so that we're maximizing our health. But ultra-processed foods, a diet that's very rich in these, really lowers those diversity levels. Antibiotics are great at killing harmful bacteria, but they don't discriminate between the harmful and the beneficial, and they just wipe out all different kinds of strains of bacteria. So if you've been taking antibiotics for any reason, it's really important to take steps to nourish your gut microbiome and probably use a probiotic supplement for a few weeks after you've finished your antibiotics as well, just to help repopulate the gut with some of those good species. A low fibre diet is not good for our gut bugs because the gut microbes really thrive on fibre. So any fibre from root vegetables, leafy vegetables, pulses, legumes, whole grains, beans, anything like that, the really traditional whole foods that are rich in fibre, they help to feed the gut bugs. The gut bugs then ferment this fibre and they produce metabolites from it, which then help to maintain the lining of the gut, and they have various roles in communication throughout the body as well, particularly with the brain through the gut-brain axis, this kind of highway of communication between the gut and the brain that's working all the time. So these are some of the common menopause symptoms that are linked to the gut microbiome. So it could be that you're already experiencing these anyway before you get to perimenopause, and then they get worse at that time because of the hormonal fluctuations. Or these issues may start to arise for the first time, you've never had them before. So we've already mentioned things like irritable bowel syndrome, bloating, indigestion, very common during perimenopause and menopause. Frequent infections, this is because the gut microbiome plays a huge role in our immunity. So there's about 70% of our immune system is located in the gut. And the gut microbiomes really strongly influence that, and they play key roles in managing inflammation in the body as well. So if you're prone to frequent infections, it's really important to look at the health of your gut. Anxiety and depression. This is often quite some of the early signs of perimenopause for a lot of women. So before they experience anything like hot flushes, they may be getting more of the cognitive symptoms like mood swings and anxiety. And this is to do with the altered levels of estrogen affecting brain function, but also because the gut microbiome communicates with the brain all the time through this gut-brain axis. And weight gain is another symptom as well. So our gut microbiome regulates how we kind of store weight, kind of our preferences for certain foods. So it has a really important role to play in weight balance. So what can we do to nourish our gut microbiome for hormone health? So these are some of the simple steps that we can take to give our good bacteria a really strong chance of thriving and proliferating in the gut. The first thing to do is to eat a rainbow. So this is eating lots of different colours of bright fruits and vegetables every day. So aiming for 5 vegetables and 2 fruits a day. We want more vegetables because they're more nutrient dense than fruits. Fruits are great, they've got really good properties, but they are largely water, whereas vegetables are more nutrient dense. The different colours of food come about through the different compounds in there called polyphenols. Now these polyphenols have antioxidant properties, so they're very protective to cells in the body, but they also help to support microbial diversity within the gut. The gut bugs love different coloured fruits and vegetables, basically. So think about eating a rainbow every day. We want to minimise refined sugar, artificial sweeteners, alcohol and ultra-processed foods because as we've mentioned, they contribute to more of the harmful species and they lower the diversity within the gut. We want to deal with stress and eat mindfully as much as possible. So any kind of stress management technique, it may be just, regular meditation, yoga, walking outside in nature, whatever you can build into your day to help you manage stress. And taking those few slow, deep breaths before you eat, make sure that you're sitting down to eat, give yourself time to eat as well. So the 3 meals a day, that's 3 opportunities to nourish yourself, nourish your gut microbiome. And we really need to take those opportunities to support our long-term health and our hormone health. Fermented foods are great because they actually bring in different species of bacteria to the body. So these foods like live natural yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, they're naturally fermented by different strains of bacteria. So when we eat them, we're getting some of those bacteria and that helps to support the balance of microbes in the gut. And finally, fibre. So we really want to feed our gut bugs. We want to give them some substrate to get going on. So different coloured vegetables are fantastic for this. Fruits, beans, pulses, legumes, whole grains like oats, barley, whole wheat, all those kinds of rich fibre foods are really helpful for the gut microbiome. If your diet is quite low in those, then take it slow and steady and just start gradually increasing your fibre to give your body a chance to adapt to it. So that's it for today. We hope you've found this session useful. If you have, hit like. Let us know in the comments if there's any future topics that you'd like us to cover because the team is working on research bites all the time. Hit the bell icon to receive notifications from us from the Menopause Science channel, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future. Have a wonderful day.